subdued Skraby show today with the Padres result up in San Francisco. Of course, we're going to get into all of that, but I just want to open up the phones right off the bat. If you have anything to say about today's game or the team, if you have any thoughts that are sticking in your head, please give us a call to 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973, because there's a lot to talk about today. I mean, I am really... I'm trying so hard to not overreact to early season losses. I am not doing great at it because I am not much of a patient person. As I said, and I think I screamed yesterday, I am not built for baseball. So I'm going to do my best to continue not overreacting because, again, it's early. But as Sam Levitt said, it's early, and I know that everybody doesn't want to hear that anymore because we said it all last season, but that's the only way I think I can go forward with this right now because there is a long season. I don't want to sound the alarm and then game 130, they're 15 games over 500 or something like that. I don't want to do that, but losses are very hard to take here this season so far because of everything that everybody went through last year. And there were a few things today that weren't great, and there were a few things today that were great. Fernando's illegal slide. We're going to play you what Mike Schultz said in a little bit because he had a great explanation for how he would coach Fernando on doing that because the illegal slide didn't, cost the Padres a run. And then his throw to second base instead of home when Jung-Hoo Lee scored. It's another mistake in the field, and Fernando's not known for making mistakes like that. Manny, his double play in the first after getting on the board early. Graham Pauley's possible foul ball strikeout in the seventh. Now, they said it didn't hit, and I'm going to trust them because they were actually there, and zooming in on TV with my phone is not going to give me the clearest picture. So I'm just going to assume that wasn't something that they should have reviewed, and because they didn't. But still, these are opportunities that the Padres had to do something today. They had this game. It was a winnable game for them. And it's one of those things where the consistency is just not where it needs to be. And again, that could be a symptom of the early season. And that could be a symptom of a team, like we said last week, looking to gel. And I see certain moments that are great, and I see certain moments that are not so great. But right now, 4-6 through 10 games, I cannot overreact. So that is what that's my mindset right now. It doesn't make it any easier to watch the games and follow this team because it hurts when they lose. They've had an interesting start in the way of their pitching because I think a lot of us all felt that pitching was going to be a strength for the Padres, but right now pitching is kind of struggling for the Padres. Dylan Cease did figure it out today. So that's something that we can say. Dylan Cease, he proved why the Padres went out and got him, and he deserved to get the win today. The Padres offense just did not give him anything to work with. And I mean, they gave him the lead. I'll give him that. I'll give the Padres that. They gave him the lead right out the gate, 1-0. And then it goes to 1-1. But the offense needs to be better for the Padres to win. And before the season, I think I said this every day almost. The superstars are going to have to superstar. And right now, after today's game, I feel pretty confident that the superstars, I feel confident in Fernando. I feel confident right now, even in Jake Cronenworth, going 2 for 4 today with an RBI. He's batting .308 on the season. I will take that from Jake Cronenworth. I know he's not going to bat .308 the rest of the season, but I will take that from him now. The one player out of the lineup that the superstar is not superstarring, and it's Manny Machado. And you heard Sam talking about it before the postgame was over, and that he possibly could be elbow related. Now, listen, I didn't even think Manny Machado was going to be on this team and playing until a month into the season because of his elbow surgery and because of the what was it? I don't know if this is the right word, but the prognosis was 3 to 6 months. So obviously there was some wiggle room in there. But I got to wonder if that is bothering him. He's doing his throwing program, and this doesn't seem like the Manny that is. He seems like he's working through something. And obviously, I do not know that because I'm not Manny Machado and I don't know how to hit a baseball like he does. But it just seems like he's going through something right now. He's hitting 184. He's 0 for 3. He's hit some good home runs for the Padres this year, but he's not producing right now. And as a leader of the team, he's going to be the first one to tell you he's not producing. But I expect that to turn around. If you look at his history in Major League Baseball, every single year it's the same thing. It's the same stats every single year. He'll hit about 270 to 280 or 265 to 285, something like that, and he'll hit 30 home runs and 100 RBIs most of the time. So I'm not worried about him turning it around. What I am worried about is whether or not his elbow is healthy enough. And I'm not trying to put out a rumor or anything. It's not a secret that he had elbow surgery in the offseason. But I got to think with the production that we've seen so far that there's something going on there. Ha-Seong Kim kind of picking it up a little bit. He went 0 for 4 today. He's hitting 216. Jurickson Profar went 1 for 4 today. Luis Campusano kind of came back to earth just for today. He went 0 for 3. He's still hitting 364 on the season. And then Graham Pauley, he struck out twice today. He went 0 for 3. And of course, we talked about that maybe foul ball in the 7th inning that ended up being a strikeout. But I got to ask I know it's a pitching related decision as to why they're playing Tyler Wade or if they're playing Graham Pauley, but I got to ask why at this point Graham Pauley is getting these at bats. And it's nothing against him because he's a young guy. I think he's 23 years old. And down at the bottom of the lineup right there as the number 8 hitter, hitting 154 with no power is not going to get it done. And there's nothing wrong with the Padres. There's nothing wrong with the Padres going away from Graham Pauley a little bit or even sending him down to the minor leagues. But 0 for 3 today, it's just not something that that the Padres can afford to do right now. They need someone at the bottom of the lineup who's going to give them something other than I'm trying to see how many he has 6 strikeouts on the year in 13 at bats. So he's basically he's less than half the time there's no real result for Padres hitting. And they need some result right now. And again, that's not to say that he's not going to be a good baseball player. He's 23 years old. He's trying to figure it out as well. And here's one thing I'll go into, and then we'll head to break, and I'll reset a little bit. I'm Matt Skraby, by the way. This is the Skraby Show. Gwen and Chris not happening today because of the short show. Tony in San Francisco, all that good stuff. So I'm here with you until 7. You can watch us on YouTube if you would like. You can go to YouTube, just search 97.3 The Fan. Go to Facebook, go to Twitch, 97.3 The Fan, and also you can go to X, 97.3 The Fan SD. But I felt like I've said this a few times. Swinging at the first pitch is something that I hate to see. And sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. I tend to hang on to the sometimes it doesn't part of this. So I went and I looked it up, and this is coming into today. So it's not something that includes the game from today. But I wanted to see if their strategy, because the reason this came up in my head is because today they swung at the first pitch a lot. And I was thinking maybe there's something that they've identified that it's better for you to swing early against Jordan Hicks than late. But so I looked it up, and this is often the case when I look things up. When the Padres swing at the first pitch, their average is 257. When they take the first pitch, their average is 282. So not really, a little bit of difference, but not really that much difference. And when they swing at the first pitch, 5 times this year they've hit a home run. They've driven in 19 runs. And when they take the first pitch, they've hit 6 home runs and driven in 29 RBIs. So the first pitch swinging theory for me was debunked because they do just fine. by swinging at the first pitch. But I sometimes think that some of these, and it's funny for me to say bad at bats, but sometimes I see those and I'm like, what's happening? Why are you swinging first pitch? Why don't you make the guy work a little bit? And that's part of consistency too. So, with that, I'm going to head to break. If you want to join me here, you can give me a call, 833-288-0973. Padres fall to the Giants 3-2 on the Giants home opener. Matt Chapman was the one who scored the run. It was a good relay throw, I got to say. Jurickson Profar, and he got it down into, I can't remember who caught the ball now. Or Kim? Anyway, yes, it was Kim. Sorry. I've got a lot floating around in my head from the game, but that relay was pretty good. I mean, I almost thought there was a chance that they got him, Matt Chapman at home, but they didn't. De Los Santos takes the loss, and we didn't see Robert Suarez. That's another thing that we have to talk about. But I do have some information on that because Mike Schilt did speak about it after the game. So I'll play that for you so you can hear what the manager of the San Diego Padres said about not using Robert Suarez. And I am okay with it after hearing his explanation. So maybe you'll be okay with it too. Also, he had a really interesting answer about the Fernando Tatis Jr. illegal slide that happened early in the game. And he really does give a lot to this answer. So I want you to hear that as well. And then the rest of the show, we're going to be talking about the Padres. We're going to be talking about different things around baseball. We're going to be talking about the Shohei Ohtani home run controversy that's becoming way too big of a deal. And we'll do that later in the show. But if you want to join me, get your thoughts out there, 833-288-0973. You can go to YouTube, type those in to YouTube, search 97.3 The Fan, or you can go to my X account at Matt Skraby. With that said, we'll be back here shortly on 97.3 97.3 The Fan. Easy for me to say.
Listen to 3-2 again. Bogaerts runs again. Fernando grounds it through the left side, a base hit. Merrill comes in to score. Bogaerts on his way to third. He'll stop there. An RBI single for Fernando Tatis Jr. And the Padres in front 2-1 here in the third.
And that was the final run they scored in the game today. They end up losing in walk-off fashion. The Giants walked it off in their home opener today, 3-2. Matt Chapman scores the winning run, and the Padres are now 4-6 on the season, and we are talking about it right now. And we have a lot going on in the chat, so if you haven't joined the chat yet or watched the chat yet, you should. There's a lot of good opinions in there right now. Just go to search YouTube 97.3 The Fan. And you can join the show and watch it there, or you can go to X 97.3 The Fan SD and watch it there. However, I have been asked about this. I cannot respond to X comments from the program that I use. For some reason, I can't do that. So if you comment on X, I'm not ignoring you. I may even say it so I can let you know that I saw it. But there, you heard it, Fernando driving in the run, and I am seeing a lot of griping about the Padres today, and that's okay because today was a tough one. And coming off of a week where, what have they lost now? 3 of 4 games this week. Again, I'd rather this happen early in the season than late in the season, but it's not. It's last year I said the same thing. And they did pick it up a little bit later in the season, but I wanted them to start just like a cannon. That's a bad thing to describe, but I couldn't say what I wanted to say on the radio. But I wanted them to start 7-3. I'll even take 6-4, which is exactly what they were last year. And Chris brought this to my attention the other day when I was all excited about the Padres winning. And he said, we were this excited last year and they even had a winning record. And look what happened after that. So I'm not going to keep referencing last year, but you need to know, and everybody probably feels the same way, it's right there in the back of your head. Last year is in the back of your head. And there are certain things, I think, that are proving that this is not last year because they've already won a 1-run game. Again, that's really hard for me to say. And they've done some great things this year. Fernando started off on fire. Had a couple mistakes today, but I'll take Fernando in 162 games and forgive a few mistakes here and there. I told you before the break I wanted to play you why Mike Shildt did not use Robert Suarez today. So the situation, it was 2-2 in the 9th, and Wandy Peralta got the first out. They brought in Eniel De Los Santos, and I even asked Sammy Lev here, why aren't they using Suarez? And, you know, it wasn't a save situation. So the media after the game asked Mike Shildt about this, and here's what he said about the Robert Suarez decision.
I try to stay away from him, just, like the fact that Wandy can go out, grab Conforto, and again, like the matchup with Delo being able, he's pitching high leverage situations, got 4 appearances, hadn't given up anything. The front end of all their runs scored were free, and I can't say they didn't earn it, but 2 walks and a hit batter led to all 3 runs, and it's what opened up the 9th.
So if you had a save situation,
Suarez would have been in the game. Okay. That's correct. Yeah, he was getting loose in the 8th to go out if we'd have scored.
So he was going to use him, and like Sam, he looked up Eniel De Los Santos's previous outings. He hadn't given up a run, so I don't really mind a decision, but you got to wonder if the game's different. But again, it's 10 games in. You can't be throwing Robert Suarez into every situation, especially when he is willing to go 5 outs or 4 outs. So you got to make sure that he's ready to go in case that they need him for that sort of pitching situation. But it's I don't have a problem with this move. And Mike Shildt always has a reason for it. And if I hear the reason for something, I can wrap my head around it. But at face value, I was kind of like, ooh, maybe they should have pitched Robert Suarez. Also, we talked about Fernando Tatis Jr. and his illegal slide that took a Padres run away. And it is the right call. You'll hear Mike Shildt here saying that it is the right call. But there's also a bunch of other little tidbits and nuggets that you can take from this. But here's Mike Shildt talking about Fernando Tatis Jr. and his illegal slide.
Well, the play at second, with Toddy. I actually loved the play. The call was right. he's trying to make a really aggressive baseball play. He's trying to beat the force, and he's getting after it, and it was pretty darn close. And then, the rule's a rule, and, Blaney, Ron Blaney in second, does a good job. And like you said, he called it by the literal rule. He did what he should have. But, we got a guy trying to compete in a moment with Toddy, again, trying to beat a force, play the game hard. And then, Nicky comes through, and really the contact was, kind of both ways, completely incidental, both guys making baseball plays. And again, by rule, it's, a double play. It's a big call in the game, though. It's Crony's going to beat that out. Now we're up 3, still got Manny at the plate with 2 outs. But I told Toddy I'll take that play 10 out of 10 times with that kind of effort, that kind of intent, make a good aggressive baseball play. Just so happens they connected, and the technicality, the rule got us.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's nothing really to say about it. It was against the rules, and so they called Fernando out, and there you go. But you heard Mike Schultz say he'll take that effort 10 out of 10 times, and I think all fans would as well. On the chat, though, we are having a conversation or about some of the effort, and so I want to open that up as well, and it's from Prolific. Hey, Skraby, how about you talk about the lack of energy running down the baseline on first base for Manny Machado? Now, I did see this. I don't remember exactly what inning it was, but it was earlier in the game. The throw to first base was a little bit high, and you got to think maybe Manny would have beat it out. I think my answer is going to disappoint a lot of people, but do I want Manny sprinting down the line every single time he hits a routine grounder? Probably not. I don't want that, because I'd much rather have a healthy Manny Machado, and I'd much rather have a Manny Machado that is going to be with the team for 162 games. He's been injured here in the last few years, and he had that ankle injury. I'm not saying that that's a problem or anything, but my answer is not going to please anyone, because I know that he's getting paid a ton of money. I know that he is a leader of this team. And I, too, did kind of question the effort, but in the end, I'm going to have to defer to the player. And that's not going to, it doesn't even make me happy to say that, but I think that's the only way I can really come at this. I can't say that he is actively being sluggish down the line, because I just don't know. We just don't know everything. And that's one of the things in this position that I've learned over the years. I don't know everything. I know it's hard. It's hard to believe that. I don't know everything. And I'm looking at the chat right now. Manny's just not a runner. He's turning into I'm not going to read all that, but a DH type player. I don't think that's true. This is the first time that we have even talked about this year. Also, Manny's gone 0 for 11 in his last 3 games. You think he's happy with 0 for 11? No, he's not. So things are a little frustrating on his end too. And I don't want to come off like I'm just taking his side, because in a certain situation that Manny needs to beat out a throw, I think he's going full speed. And yes, in theory, everyone should be running full speed on every single play. But in reality, that's just not what happens. It's not what happens. Chance says Manny has always ran that way. Oh, Patrick and Annie. Good take on Manny. Patrick and Annie, you're going to have to tell me which one of you are the ones commenting so I can actually address you. Dominic says, I think it's ridiculous to ever question Manny's effort and commitment. I don't. It's not ridiculous, because I think there's room to talk about it because of certain things that have happened in the past. But I think that right now, the reason that we're talking about it is because the Padres lost this game. If the Padres win this game, then we're probably not talking about it. And I'm talking about much happier things. Much happier things. Let's see. J-Mac, look at how many players do not run full speed consistently through the league. Yeah, I saw that. I see that. I watched the Yankees and the Cubs today. Yankees did not score in their home opener for the first time since like 1967, which was kind of awesome because you know how I feel about the Yankees right now. Yeah, the chat, it's pretty split, gotta say. So if you have thoughts, 833-288-0973 on this Manny Machado thing. Now, here's another issue that is not helping the Padres at all, and it's becoming a theme of this season so far. And it's where they're scoring their runs, and I mean what point in the game they're scoring their runs. Strangely enough, the number one inning for them to score runs this year is the first inning. They've scored 11 runs in the first inning this year. They've hit 270. Then things start to head down a little bit. Second inning, 6 runs, but they hit 316. Then 9 runs in the third inning. This is a total of the year, by the way. So every run that's scored in the third inning so far this year, coming into today, by the way, I should add. Third inning, 9 runs. They're hitting 333. So getting on base and contact aren't a problem. It's scoring those runs because the fourth inning, only 4 runs scored. 324 batting average. Fifth inning, 3 runs scored. And here's where things get a little dicey. In the fifth inning, they score 3 runs all year, and they've hit 242. Sixth inning, 4 runs, 235. Seventh inning, 5 runs, 235. Eighth inning, the worst inning for the Padres, 2 runs scored in 167 batting average with an OPS of 576. So they're getting nothing out of their lineup in the 8th inning. And then in the 9th inning, when it's very important, they have scored 8 runs and they're hitting 320. So there needs to be that consistency. There's that word again, consistency, from the early innings to the middle innings to the late innings. And right now, the consistency theme is to be pretty good in the first 3 or 4 innings, then tail off 5 through 8, and then be good again in the 9th inning. And that's not going to win you games when you can't score down the stretch. You have to take advantage of the bullpen. And most of those times that we're talking about, 5th inning, 6th inning, 7th inning, 8th inning, those are bullpen guys from the other team. And so either the Padres have faced the best bullpens in the league right now, or they're just struggling to hit and score in the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th inning. There's a lot to talk about. And you know what? I just realized we have traffic. So if you're sitting out there on the roads, listen up. This will tell you how you get home.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Still a little busy on our roads. Crash clearing on the coastline, northbound 5 before Poinsettia. That vehicle fire has been put out further north near the 76, so speeds are looking much better there. South on the 805, right around Governor, there is a collision involving a couple vehicles. That's over to the right shoulder. Also traveling westbound 8 at the northbound 805 connector crash over to the right shoulder. The Cordell and Cordell traffic cam shows a crash not far from the border. Southbound 5 right before Camino de la Plaza. Those vehicles are over to the right shoulder. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwen and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, back here in the Odyssey Palace, I'm Matt Skraby. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Matt Skraby, MATTSKRAB as in boy Y. And I got into this so early that I forgot to even say we still have 2 tickets, 1 pair of tickets, 1 winner, I should say, for the Skrabinator night on Wednesday, April 10th, next Wednesday against the Cubs when the game starts at 3:40 p.m. And there you go. I don't want to hear anybody coming to Skrabinator night if they're going to also take home their Manny Machado bobblehead that's being given away on Wednesday. You can't crush Manny for not running to first and then take home his bobblehead. You actually can. I'm just kidding. Someone said, at least we're not the Marlins. That's true. If you want to be the Marlins, you can be the Marlins. Nobody wants to be the Marlins right now. They're still winless, I believe. I don't know. Let me go look real quick to make sure that they haven't won today already or something, but I don't think they have. Oh, and I just saw the Phillies City Connect uniforms. I don't know if you guys have seen these, but these things are awful. You can go to my X at Matt Skraby, MATTSKRAB as in boy Y, and see what they did. The Phillies are normally red and white, which I understand the Padres are not teal and pink. I understand that. The color combination does not really meet my eye. And I am not someone who should be talking about fashion in any sense because I am not fashionable. But the blue and the white is very strange. It's kind of like a turquoise, almost like a dark turquoise. And they say it's all in the details, and they go on to explain it. Maybe we'll get into it later. But if you haven't seen these, go look up the Philadelphia Phillies City Connect uniforms and see what you think about them. Yeah, they're still doing those City Connect uniforms. Speaking of, now that we're here and we're almost at the end of the hour, I'm going to do this. Speaking of City Connect uniforms, Adam sent me a text earlier, and it went like this. The Brewers will not be wearing their customary Friday home game City Connects tonight. They have not, and try not to be flabbergasted by this, arrived from Fanatics and Nike yet. Then the Rangers will not wear their City Connect uniforms tonight. They haven't yet received them from Fanatics. The club expects to have them by their next Friday home game, April 26th. This jersey thing has been incredibly crazy, and it has really been a news story here in the first, ever since spring training started. And even the City Connect Phillies uniforms, they kind of just have that same feel that we feel this year with all of these uniforms. I'm looking at a related article, and I think this is funny. Phil's players tease new City Connects. Quote, they're beautiful. Anyway, I'm not from the East Coast. I'm not from Philadelphia, so it doesn't speak to me. Maybe it speaks to other people. Anyway, we're going to head to break here. I got one more hour with you. If you have any Padres thoughts, 833-288-0973. We'll talk about some other news around baseball. We'll also talk about the earthquake at Yankee Stadium. We still have a lot to go here on 97.3 The Fan.
Here's the 1-2. Line sharply into left center field and down, a base hit for Cronenworth. Bogarts will come in to score, and an RBI base hit for Jake. A 1-0 Padre lead here in the first.
There we go. At that point in the game, I thought, hey, Padres are ready to go. Padres are ready to start this game. They're going to score a couple runs here in the first inning. They're going to get to Jordan Hicks even earlier in the second inning. But no, it didn't go that way. Padres fall to the Giants today 3-2 in the Giants home opener. And there was a chat I saw. Let me go look for this real quick because I had the word I want to use right now. Oh, there it is. It's from, my guy, Easy Money. Details to the game cost the Padres today. Tatis is still young and he had opportunities today that he failed to capitalize. Yes, he did have opportunities today that he failed to capitalize. And that's just something that's going to happen throughout a baseball season. But I will say I want Fernando up there more than other guys. I'll take a Fernando Tatis at bat with guys with runners in scoring position any day. But today he didn't come through. Tomorrow he probably will come through. Let's hope, because that means the Padres will win. We have another chat saying, I like Skraby more now that I can see him on YouTube. Thank you for that comment. I have never been really here's something strange about me that I don't think I've ever really admitted on the radio. I've never liked being in front of the camera. I've never liked it. And when people come to my parents' house and they look through family photo albums or they look at things on the wall, they're like, where's Matt? And it's because I never wanted to be in the picture. I was the one always taking the picture. So it's a little strange for me to be on camera, but honestly, since we've been doing it since the end of the Padres season last year, I'm a little bit more comfortable with it, but I am very uncomfortable with being in front of the camera. I'm getting more comfortable, but that's one thing I can say is I regret not taking more pictures as a kid. And I regret not being a more enjoyable kid. I was not an enjoyable kid at times. All right. Let's see. I had another chat. Oh, yes, here it is. Do you think the players are pressing right now? This was interesting when I read it, just because, again, it's early in the year and it's only 10 games in, so it's impossible to really have an opinion on what's going to happen this year. But I can't think anything other than, yes, there is some sort of thought of pressing in their mind because of what happened last year. I started the show saying I wasn't going to talk about last year, and here we are talking about last year. And someone also said on the chat, I said last year was in the back of my head, but last year, but this person said it's in the front of their head, which I think it's in the front of a lot of people's head. But this year needs to turn around in a hurry. And there are signs of that. Like I said, Jake Cronenworth hitting 308 this season, going 2 for 4 today, driving in the run there. You got Fernando. I mean, today, the top of the lineup did come through to a point. Xander Bogaerts led off the game with a double. Fernando, we already talked about him. Jake, we already talked about him. It's the 4-5 spot right now that is really struggling. Manny, 0 for 3. Ha-Seong Kim, 0 for 4. Between Manny, Kim, and Profar today, oh, here comes math. They went 1 for 11 from their 4, 5, 6 hitters, which is just not going to win you any games. And then when you get to the bottom of the order, I think I was already kind of expecting Luis Campusano to get a hit every day, and I know that's not actually possible, and I mean, it might be possible, but I know that it's not likely that he gets a hit every single day, but he didn't get any hits today, so that hurts the bottom of the lineup. Graham Pauley, again, 0 for 3 today, 2 strikeouts. And then Jackson Merrill, 1 for 3 today, again, holding his own at the plate, but there's just not much going on in that middle of the lineup. And so during the break, I went and I looked at certain parts of the lineup and what that part in the order is doing. So batting fourth, the cleanup, the most prized possession or position in the lineup is the number 4 hitter, the cleanup hitter. You're the power hitter if you're the cleanup hitter. You're the guy who drives and runs if you're the cleanup hitter. Well, The fourth hitter in the Padres lineup this year is hitting 200, and it will go down today because Manny went 0 for 3. Was it 0 for 3? Got to go back to the thing just to make sure. 0 for 3. So that part of the order is not producing. And in fact, looking at this right now, the fourth spot in the order is the lowest batting average right now. Fifth spot, 242. Sixth spot, 258. The seventh spot, which is where Campusano hits. This is why this number's so high. 378. Eighth and ninth, 250. Batting first, 286. I'm seeing a lot of comments about why Ha-Seong Kim isn't leading off and why Xander Bogaerts is leading off instead. I think you got to give Xander Bogaerts a little bit of leeway. He's already changed his position, so he's already dealing with one part of his game that's switching around. But today, he went 1 for 4, led off the game with a double, scored a run. So if you're looking at today's game with Xander Bogaerts, only 2 guys scored runs. He's one of them. And only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys got hits, and he's one of them. So I don't think it's a Xander Bogaerts problem. Kim, though, going 0 for 4 today, hitting 216 on the season. They're going to need to try something new with him just to see what in the world is happening and if he can get this turned around. All right, let's go to the phones. If you have any comments or questions, 833-288-0973. You're listening to 97.3 The Fan and the Skraby Show. Also, Caitlin Clark in Iowa just got underway, so I will put that up on the TV. But let's go to our first caller. Let's go to John. John, you are on the air. How are you today? What's on your mind?
Doing good. So, you got me?
Yeah, I gotcha.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, again, Skraby, I mean, I called in, a month ago when you were doing your late night show and, our losses last year, what kept us out of the playoffs was the bullpen. And I know everybody wants to, focus on the lack of offense over the last 3-4 games, but, the game 3 days ago, I think Matsui, comes in the 8th inning and, first 3 batters he faces, he loads the bases, and we ended up losing that game. And, today we lose the game because of the bullpen as well. And, these guys, they got it from the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, man. These guys got to come in and they got to shut the other team down. That's what needs to happen. The winning team, the Dodgers don't give up late runs. Their bullpen, they don't give up the late inning runs like our bullpen does. And yeah, their offense is a lot better than ours at this point, but I'm telling you, man, these guys got to come in and they got to get outs.
Yeah,
that's my concern. I don't want to see a repeat of last year. The bullpen gave up, 23 games we lost that we had the lead going into the 6th inning last year.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
And that's we did score a lot of runs in the Dodgers series, and we had that laugher against the Giants at home. So we're like, 3rd or 4th in offense in the NL right now. But those big run games skew the fact that, we're only averaging 2.5 runs a game in the last 4 games. And that is a concern, but man, the bullpen's got to come in and they got to get outs. They got to shut these guys down. They can't be giving up late inning, 1 or 2 runs in these late innings. We're going to end up losing these 1-run games again, like we did last year.
Very good points, John, and thank you for the phone call. I mean, you brought facts with you, so I want to go look, and I actually looked at this before the show, but starting pitching for the Padres, and this is current, the Padres are 1-4 for starting pitcher decisions this year. Leading baseball, the Rockies and the A's are 0-5, so they're only 1 loss away from being tied for first in Major League Baseball for starting pitching losses. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because the game doesn't seem to be lost by the relievers. It's seeming to be lost by the starters right now. The relievers have definitely not contributed when they need to contribute. And I think that just goes back to more of the consistency. Is when Matsui comes in, I think it was 2 appearances to start the year. Matsui was lights out. And then he comes in on the game John was referencing on Wednesday against the Cardinals. or not the Cardinals. The game that John was referencing. There's lots of games, but he didn't have a good outing, and it ended up hurting the Padres. And so that's the consistency. If you're going to be able to pitch, you're going to have outings that aren't going to go your way. But it seems like the outings that aren't going their way are lining up with the entire game that's not going their way. Like it just, and lining up, maybe even lining up to not that the game isn't going their way, but they could be, getting on the bases. They could be scoring some runs and you think things are good. The Padres are going to be okay. They're going to win this game. And then relievers come in after the starting pitcher goes 6 or 7, doesn't give up more than 1 run. And then the relievers, they're up 5-1 or whatever. And then the relievers come in and they don't do their job. And that's super frustrating. And that's a consistency issue. 100% a consistency issue. Now I want to bring up a chat, and I'm not going to say this person's name because I gotta say, I know you might be joking, but the chat in the YouTube, after last year's mess, it's totally fair to expect more from them this year. They let the entire fan base down. Number one, you can totally expect more from them. I have no issues with that. I don't know that I have a hard time being that serious that they let the entire fan base down. It was a letdown for sure. Like last year was not fun whatsoever. But at the same time, I don't know that we're there. It's not that dire. It's not that dire. I'm telling you. Patrick and Annie, there we are again. 10 games, simply cannot judge yet. I know that some people are like that. And I'm having to be like that because I'm not going to overreact. I am not going to overreact, I promise. All right, we still have those Skraby Show or Skrabinator night tickets to give away. We still need to update you on what happened with Shohei Ohtani. We need to update you on what happened with the actually not the A's, but the Royals owner. His wife had some things to say about losing that tax vote. And I thought it was real funny. So we'll get to that too when we get back. Join us 833-288-0973. We'll be back here on the Skraby Show, 97.3 The Fan.
Ball season with Jesse Eigler and Tony Gwynn Jr. You can stream Padres baseball on the Odyssey app.
And stream it to any device.
Remember to follow 97.3 The Fan.
Odyssey presents a joint venture with Hulu's High Hopes.
Yo, what's up? This is Jared from the Dirty Heads.
It gets a little better. A secret 420 Dirty Head show. I'm on vacation. Win a trip for 2 to LA. California, rescue me. Enter now for your chance to win at Odyssey.com/High Hopes. This month, reality TV hits a new high. High Hopes premieres 420, streaming only on Hulu.
I'm a waitress, so I know the difference between regular shoes and Skechers slip-resistant work shoes. Skechers slip-resistant work shoes make my job go like this. Here's your pasta primavera.
Thanks.
While regular shoes make my job go like this. Here's your pasta whoa! And that difference is why I wear Skechers slip-resistant work shoes to keep me safe on my feet. Plus, they're easy to clean and have Skechers exclusive air-cooled memory foam for comfort throughout my shift. Get America's #1 selling work shoe at Skechers.com, a Skechers store near you, or wherever work shoes are sold.
The smarter way to clean your floors. It's time to make the swap. Swiffer Power Mop.
Introducing the new Swiffer Power Mop, the all-in-one tool that gives you a mop and bucket clean in half the time. The solution's built right in, so no heavy bucket, and the pad has hundreds of scrubbing strips to get deep into grout. Don't mop harder, mop smarter.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
Some people just know the best places to eat around town. Those are the people who know to choose Allstate. They know exactly where to go to get exactly what you're wanting. They know where to find the spiciest hot pot, the gooeyest brownies, and the tenderest, most flavorful portobello steak. Those people also know that safe drivers save 40% with Allstate.
Saving 40% is based on the national average premium savings for Allstate auto customers with a clean driving record versus those without. Savings vary by state and vary based on how you buy, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Look around. You can find cars like these on AutoTrader, like that car right in your tail. Or if you're tailgating right now, all those cars doubling as kitchens and living rooms are on AutoTrader too. Are you working out and listening to this ad at the same time? Well, multitasking pro, cars like the ones in the gym parking lot are for sale on AutoTrader. New cars, used cars, electric cars, maybe even flying cars. Okay, no flying cars, but as soon as they get invented, they'll be on AutoTrader. Just you wait. AutoTrader.
Shop our best savings for spring during Spring Fest at Lowe's. Start your gardening projects with $10 deals. Buy 5 bags of premium 2 cubic foot mulch or 5 select 1 pine annuals for just $10 to bring some color to your garden. Visit us in-store and online for our best savings for spring, because Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 4/10, excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Annuals offer in-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location while supplies last.
Stay right there. The Skraby Show back in 2 minutes.
Some days I cover up because of my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis. Now I'm hitting the road with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clearer skin at 4 months. And Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZI to learn more.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Gabby.
Hey, Gabby. It's Jennifer Coolidge. Hi. I'm so glad I reached you at 2 a.m.
Oh, of course. Anyone with a Discover card can call and talk to a real person 24/7. Now, how can I help?
Yeah, I used my Discover card to buy these yellow pleather pajamas, and I'm just not sure I'm pulling them off.
24/7 U.S.-based customer service. It pays to Discover. Limitations apply. Learn more at discover.com/creditcard.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Off pitch, Soler swings and misses. Strike 3. Cease gets him again. 4th strikeout of the day for Dylan. A 1-2-3 third inning. Padres lead it 2-1 in San Francisco.
Well, that ended up being 3-2 Giants in the bottom of the 9th inning. Matt Chapman scores on a long fly ball to the fence in left field. Jurickson Profar throws it in. Kim throws it, is the cutoff guy, throws it in. I thought maybe there was some chance at a play at home, but he was safe. And the Giants win their home opener 3-2. I'm Matt Skraby. This is the Skraby Show here on 97.3 The Fan. And, you know, the chat is getting crazy right now. The one thing about the chat that's new to me, we've been using the chat on YouTube. Just go to YouTube, search 97.3 The Fan, and you can join everybody. But the thing that's new to me is the in-season chat. Which the in-season chat, actually, yes, Brock is right. It was Jose Azokar. My bad. But the in-season chat, instead of Profar, I should clear that up. The in-season chat is crazy, is what I'm trying to say here. Wow. It is pretty crazy. In the end, though, it seems like everybody is on the same page that they just want the Padres to play better, which is absolutely correct. I mean, the Padres just need to play better. It's what they have to do to win. You have to get your cleanup hitter on base more than they have been this season. Let me go back to that stat. The 4th hitter in the Padres lineup coming into today. So these numbers are actually going to be worse when it updates tomorrow on Baseball Reference. Coming in today, the 4th position is hitting 200 and only 2 doubles. There's no power, 2 home runs, which is Manny. There's no power right now from your cleanup hitter. And you got guys getting on base ahead of them for the most part. But that has to change. It does. Also, late inning scoring has to change. They need to be able to score in the late innings. It does to me feel sometimes like when Jorge Soler hit that ball, I think it was in the bottom of the 8th inning. And Jesse kind of, let me see. Oh, it's probably not in the highlights, but Jesse kind of made it seem like, because it probably was looking like it may go over the fence, give the Giants the lead heading into the top of the 9th. But late inning lead changes that don't go in the Padres' direction or favor have not been that great for them this year. They've come from behind after going down early, but anything after the 7th inning, I don't have much confidence. And I just think that this team is going to figure it out, but I am waiting to see that happen. I had to be very careful with my words there because I didn't want to say anything I'm not going to say anything crazy. I just don't want to be someone who is going to give up on the season, because I'm not giving up on the season. And I know people aren't giving up on the season. It's just frustrating. When you expect to win, you want to win. That's just bottom line. All right, let's go to the phones real quick. I need to go back. I think Sean in San Diego actually has a opinion on late inning scoring. Sean, you're on the Skraby Show. How's it going?
Hey, Skraby. So, and this again, we don't want to talk too much about the past, but as I've watched the past 4 or 5 years, so that's not just these players. So we've got to kind of look at where it's coming from. It just seems like if we can't hit the starter in the first rotation, we can't hit the starter until he either falls apart late or they start putting bullpen people in, and then sometimes we can, and sometimes it's like the attitude is, well, we'll get past him, we'll get into the bullpen, and then we'll be okay. But if he goes 7 innings and then we have 6 outs to try and catch up, it just never seems to work out that we can do it.
I don't disagree with you, Sean. And did you have did you have a second point, or would you?
Yeah.
Okay. What's that?
Well, yeah, I didn't know if you had anything to say that one. Yeah.
No, well,
the other point
I was just going to say, Sean, I did go through it a little bit earlier, but when you look at by inning the Padres and what they do each inning at the plate, when they get to the 5th inning, they hit 270 in the first, 316 in the second, 333 in the third, 324 in the 4th inning. And then they go 242, 235, 235, 167. So that's exactly what you're talking about right there. That's this year so far.
Oh, that's this
minus
year. Yeah.
Today's game. So it does. They are getting on base. They're just not able. And that's the weirdest thing too, Sean, is runners in scoring position hasn't been an issue for this team this year.
Right. The other point that I wanted to make that, we've talked about what's the difference this year and last year is, as this article came out with Juan Soto, and they're talking about how he was able to put his earplugs in, and Manny was able to come late to the bus, and Hader didn't have to go more than 3 outs. A lot of that was negotiated by Preller in their contracts. I mean, and Preller's the one that's saying, no, we have to keep these guys happy. And I don't think that, Bob Melvin had the opportunity to say, guys, you're all on the same team, do what I tell you to do, because it was being kind of overridden by that. And the perfect example, kind of to show the parallel, if you look at when Sean Payton showed up in Denver, and he said, nope, the only way I come in is if I'm running things, I have control. First thing he saw was Russell Wilson had his own masseuse, had his own team, he said, nope, out. You guys no longer in the clubhouse. This is my clubhouse. We all play as a team. And I think that's a difference this year so far, in that Schilt has control of the clubhouse, and I'm praying that AJ stays out of it.
Thank you, Sean, for the phone call. And the Juan Soto stuff is very eye-opening. But I can tell you that this is not strange for baseball to sign guys to contracts, and they have these certain stipulations in their contracts. I think more than ever, the player front office relationship is very important. And so that's why I think they're giving some leniencies. They're being lenient. There we go. They're being lenient with certain players because they have certain wants or needs. And so I don't think that's atypical for baseball. But what I do think is frustrating is that you can't use those guys when you need them or whatever the situation is. I don't know that we have that team this year. I don't know that the Padres are going to be that team this year. And I don't want to lay it all on Josh Hader and Juan Soto again, because I'm seeing on the chat, everybody blaming Bob Melvin. Okay, first off, Bob Melvin's in San Francisco, everyone. I know you all know that. Bob Melvin is, let me say it this way. Bob Melvin had a better record through 10 games last year than Mike Schilt does now. It's 10 games again. They went 6-4 last year through 10 games. They're 4-6 this year. I don't think this is a manager problem. I don't. I think this is an execution problem. I don't think it's necessarily a player's effort problem. Outside of maybe the one run today for Manny through to first base, I don't really think it's anything other than that these guys need to do their jobs. That's what I think is the problem. I don't know if it's a motivation thing, but I do see what Sean is saying. It does really limit your options when you can't use certain guys in certain situations. And like I said, the runners in scoring position has not been a problem for them this year. They're getting on base. They're just not able to drive the guys in. So I guess I'll ask it this way. The conversation has evolved here. Would you rather them have a bunch of opportunities with runners in scoring position, or would you rather have no opportunities, or would you rather have very few opportunities with scoring position? Obviously, you want the more opportunities. They just need to figure out how to turn all of those opportunities into runs. I'm trying to look at the team runners in scoring position right now, just so I have, because if you didn't know, MLB.com is up to date on all of their stats. So like as soon as it happens, it goes up and it tallies and all that stuff. Let's see. Runners on. There we go. Or no, it's not runners in scoring position. Duh, Matt Skraby. Thanks, everybody. Again, I'm by myself in here. So when I do these little song and dances, just be nice to me. Just be nice to me. Okay, runners on second and third. There we go. Scoring position. I'm looking at something else. I'm going to have to look at this in the break. I can't do this on the air right now. But they went 2 for 7 today. So obviously they got 2 hits in runners in scoring position. So that's not a big deal. It's just weird how they get on base, but they can't drive them in. All right, let's go to the next caller. Let's see. Longest holding caller will be Eddie in Chula Vista. Eddie, you're on the Skraby Show. What's up?
Hi, Skraby. So I was telling you before, this is like the same from last year when we started the season. It's the same story this year. I know it's kind of early, and they're going to say, oh, but you know what it is, Skraby? I think when players come to San Diego, I don't know what it is. It's the water, the weather. I don't know, but they get too relaxed. Machado, I don't know. I know he's coming through the injury or whatever surgery he had from the elbow. DHing is the same as playing and DHing, but he seems like he doesn't put effort. And it just, I don't know. I don't know what it is, Gravy, but they come to the Padres and then they're not the same players that they used to be in a different team. They come here, they seem too relaxed.
Okay, Eddie, thank you. Thank you for the phone call, Eddie. I don't think that their effort level is an issue. And I would say if their effort level was an issue, I think I did say that last year, that some points the effort level was an issue. I mean, we talked about it. Sometimes those at bats that they had late in the season last year were just not good. And we mentioned that. I'm going to go to Manny's career stats right now because I just want to see off the top of my head if I'm somewhat in the right ballpark on him. But if you look at the since he started playing for the Padres in 2019, he hit 32 home runs. And then the 2020 season, he hit 16 in only 60 games. Then he hit 28, 32, 30. And also he's hitting 256, 304, 278, 298, 258. And this year he's off to a 184 start. I'm not ready to say that Manny's not washed. I'm not ready to say that Manny's effort level is not there. I don't care who you are and what you've done during your baseball career, but if you hit 30 home runs in a season in Major League Baseball, I don't know that I can call that an effort issue. It's not easy to do that. It's not easy. And he drove in 91 runners last year, 106 runners in 2021, 102 runners in 2022. I mean, look at that. In 2021, when the Padres were having some of their worst baseball happening, when I was doing post games, and my record as a Padre pre and post game host is awful because of this season, but he hit 28 home runs, 106, drove in 106 RBIs, and 278 batting average. So I don't think that the effort level is where I'm going right now. Let's see. Someone who is too relaxed and over it doesn't poster as many games per year as Manny does. That is a very, very astute point, Dominic. Someone who is too relaxed and over it doesn't post as many games. That's right. Manny could easily be like, my elbow hurts. I got to rehab this, and I'll come back when I can come back. But he's not. He's grinding. I'm a Manny fan, and it's not just because I work on the flagship. Because I've seen things down there. He is working, but the results have not been there, and I can't argue with that. Can't argue with the 0 results. All right, let's go to the next longest holding. It's been a long time since Kevin Chula Vista's been on the Skraby Show. Or what's going on, Kevin?
Hey, Matt, thanks for the phone call here, and glad to hear you. Sorry about the game today. I think we're all a little bit frustrated. Getting back to Hassan Kim, number 5 hole for him, we're asking him to do something that is literally not his position in the batting order. It just isn't. The facts are he did much better in the number 1 in other places, but the 5 is basically in baseball acumen. You should be having your power bats come up at that point. And for whatever reason, I don't know why we don't have Brandon Belt on this team. I think he's a much better threat bat-wise than Hassan Kim. I don't know why Tommy Pham's not here. I think he's a much better consistent bat threat than Jurickson Profar on a daily basis. So there's some things that can be done roster-wise that I still am at a loss to figure out why they haven't been, when these have been glaring holes on this squad now for not just last year, not this year, but for a good long time. I can't figure out for the life of me why.
I mean, I don't disagree, Kevin, and thank you for the phone call. I don't disagree that right now they're not. I don't know why they don't have Brandon Belt in. I really don't. I think Brandon Belt would be a good addition to this team. I also saw in The Athletic earlier today that some of his Giants teammates are unhappy that he doesn't have a job. We said it yesterday on the show. This team is short a bat, and they're going to have to go get a bat. You cannot rely on Hassan Kim to do what he's doing in the 5 hole if he's not going to actually hit in the 5 hole. Now do you put him back at the top of the order? Maybe. But I don't disagree with you, Kevin, and I appreciate your phone call. I don't disagree that there are holes on this team that have not been addressed. I feel like sometimes AJ Preller, I'm talking about, he goes and he gets the big name. Like, I'm thinking Dylan Cease. I think the Dylan Cease trade was a good one because look what he's done through the first 2 games. He's been pretty good. And the guys that he was traded for, Steven Wilson is the only major leaguer. And right now, none of those other guys have made any major league starts. But I feel like there is the big name over the, how do I say this? Big name over like a lot of good names. And I said this yesterday too, like about Juan Soto. I'm not willing to pay Juan Soto $700 million because I could use that $700 million on other spots on the team. And this Padres team does have a lot of money being spent. So it does make it a little bit difficult for them to work around some of the shortcomings of the team. But I do believe that they're going to get another hitter in here before the trade deadline. And it's got to be soon. They got to get a DH. They have to. Because if Manny is going to sit out or rest his elbow for a night, who's going to be that DH? We've talked about it. It doesn't make sense for a lot of those guys to DH. Can they DH for a day? Yes. But can we rely on them to DH for many days? No. And that's why I think they're going to fix this, and they're going to try and bring in another bat to help them out. That hasn't actually even worked for them in the past either. They bring in Adam Frazier. That didn't work. They brought in old Thomas used to say Mitchy Two Bags. What was his last name? Mitch, not Haniger. He used to play for the Red Sox. Someone on the chat help me. Mitch. Oh man, what is his name? This is going to kill me if I don't remember his name. Someone please help me with his name. Anyway, I'm going to go to break. We have one more segment to go. We still have some of those tickets to give away. So just stay right there. Thank you to all the phone calls. We're going to get to you, Mark. We're going to get to you, Doug. We're going to close out the show, and we're going to do it in fun Skraby Show fashion on 97.3 The Fan.
Quinn and
Matsui delivers, and a ground ball up the middle. Kim again has got it. Gets rid of it quickly. Throw to first in time. 3 ground balls to short, and a 1-2-3 7th for Yuki Matsui.
Final segment of the Skraby Show here. 97.3 The Fan. Padres lose to the Giants today 3-2 in walk-off fashion for the Giants. Matt Chapman scores on a pretty close play. Went the Giants' way. We've been talking about it. Now, I understand why Manny Machado is under fire from fans because he is the guy, he is the face of the team. I understand to an extent why fans are mad at AJ Preller. To an extent. And I just saw a expletive. Oh man, I'm talking about this at the wrong time because everybody on the chat's saying how much they don't like AJ Preller. But it's someone even in the chat said that they would be willing to let Manny walk after he opted out of his contract. I can almost guarantee you that if Manny Machado opted out and the Padres let him walk, that would be the most egregious thing that's ever happened in San Diego Padres history. Guarantee it. Maybe like 1, 2, 3 people might feel like that was a good move. But when Manny got extended, it was a good move. I'd much rather have Manny on this team. If you look at AJ Preller, he does if there is a criticism for AJ Preller in the last few years, it's that he's not building a full team. I'm sorry for all the people on the chat. I haven't turned on the camera yet. This is he hasn't built a full team, but he has built a team that should make the playoffs. So blame it on AJ. That's fine. That's part of his job. And he hasn't put them in the best spots with certain contracts. I'm not going to deny that. But I think that he's done a decent job of putting players on the field that are going to lead the team to the playoffs. Me sounding dumb on the radio, Anthony. No, I know you're talking about the chatters. And I'm just bringing this up because it's fun to talk about, number one. I will always say sports is just for fun. And so it's fun to have these debates. But I'm going to argue back that I think AJ Preller has done a more than decent job of fielding a team that can compete. So I think that maybe some people need to maybe back off a little bit. I think you should. I'm not trying to place blame on players or anything because I don't really even like to blame players to begin with. But if you're going to be mad at someone, be mad at the guys who are actually doing the stuff on the field. That's where I'm thinking. Someone says trading Trey Turner. Oh, trading Trey Turner hurt. I don't know. I honestly, and I'm saying I don't know because I honestly don't know how we can say that years after the fact. Maybe with some of the ways things worked out, but unfortunately, as much as I want to be able to say that, I can't really tell you how it would have went. But Trey Turner's a big player, and he also helped the Padres beat the Dodgers in the wild card or the DS. Sorry, DS. It also helped them beat the Dodgers in the wild card. But God, I just said it again. The DS because he booted a couple balls. He had a bad series. So there you go. It came back to pay the Padres in royalties down the road. Let's see here. We got a couple minutes left. Let's go clear the phones and then we'll have some fun. Mark, you are on the air. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine there, Skraby. I'm glad your show, the Skraby show, is beginning to hop. That's what it seems like to me.
It is beginning to hop. Thank you, Mark. You say that way cooler than I do, so I'm going to take a couple hints from you.
You've made a lot of strides the last couple of years in your, you've expanded your knowledge of the baseball, which is really good. You've soaked in and obviously really listened to people that know about baseball and you absorbed it. So now let me say something that I think you're missing.
Okay.
And it's this. You said several times, and I think it's what is called a retained image. You said the Padres are having problems with their starting pitching. Nothing. That's the best part of their team right now. That's the part of the team that's doing the best. Look at this. Darvish pitched 7 innings, gave up 3 runs. Musgrove, very next start, he pitched 6 innings, gave up 1 run. And then Cease pitched 6 innings and gave up 1 run. You got those 3 guys doing their thing now. They turned it around. So they don't. The only problem that they have with the starting pitching is Waldron. He's a huge question mark. Michael King's going to pitch.
You do have me there, Mark. In the last, in the last maybe 3-4 games, the starting pitching has been really good. And I just went to look at the stats and everything, and their ERA as starting pitching is coming down. So maybe I was a little bit too strong on the starting pitching.
Well,
opinion.
I think it was like a retained image because it was so bad so early. I agree with that you just kept doing that narrative. And that's easy to do when you're covering a lot of subjects.
Yeah, well, thank you, Mark. I appreciate everything you said, and thank you for listening and calling. Call back again.
Yeah, like I said, I'm happy for your success, and may you just go up and up.
Man, thank you, Mark. That actually might be one of the nicest phone calls I've ever received on the radio, and one of the I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but I'm kind of like puffing my chest a little bit. Mark is my hype man. I love it. Thank you, Mark. But in all reality, I have really tried to learn baseball, and I've listened to a lot of Tony, and I've listened to a lot of Chris, and I listened to a lot of Tony and Jesse during the game. You may not know this, but I'm a radio nerd, and I may have said that 1 or 2 or 1,000 times, but I love, love, love listening to Tony and Jesse, and I'm not just saying that. They teach me a lot about the game. They're funny. They're also pointing out things that I would never even think of. So that's how I've learned from him. That's what I've learned from them. Oh, yeah, Mark, OG listener. That's right. Attaboy, Mark. Let's see if there's anything else here. All right. Ooh, JJ Hoffman wants me to look up something about Manny Machado. And I'm going to go look up his page real quick because it's about his hard hit ball percent. And I do want to know this. That'll tell us what's going on with Manny. The reason it'll tell us what's going on with Manny is because it means he's making contact if he is hitting the ball hard. So his hard hit percentage is 70. He's a 75th percentile. Oh, no, that's last year. Hold on. 2024. I hate how it does that. All right, here we go. That's why I was a little surprised. His hard hit percent is 51st percentile, so 42.9. Barrel percent is 67. His average exit velocity is way down. His average exit velocity this year is 87.7, which is the 30th percentile. Last year, his average exit velocity was 91, 77th percentile. And then 2022, he was the 89th percentile. So if you're looking at this, he's not hitting the ball as hard as he has in the past. And, oh, I love this. It says base running run value. He's the 68th percentile, which is a lot better than other guys. So there you go. It goes poor, average, great, and he's between average and great for all you base running hustle people out there. But he's not hitting the ball hard as hard this year so far. And we'll see. It just leads me to believe there's some leftover stuff with the injury on his elbow. Okay, we're almost there to the end of the Skraby Show. Let's go to Doug real quick. Doug, thank you for waiting. What's on your mind?
Hey, Matt. Thanks for taking my call, and congratulations on your new show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Doug.
Yeah, no worries, buddy. I've been listening to you guys since, I don't know, you've been around for 5 years or more and been listening. But listen, man, enough of that. First of all, real quick, you know what? We're not even 15 games in. Relax. And I've heard Tony and Chris get on you about that.
Yes, they have.
Second of all, man, it's not the pitching. We got good pitching. It's not Bob Schultz. Mike Schultz. I got Bob and Melvin everything mixed up right there.
It's all right. Lots of
But
names.
listen, man, the team's got to hit the ball. I've been listening to the fans, listening to the Padres. I'm a Padre fan forever, and we got to hit the ball. We got to hit the ball. We got to get runs. We got to score. That takes pressure off of your pitching staff. We haven't done that for 40 years. That's why we get where we are today. And I mean that. And we trade away players that go to other teams and they hit the crap out of the ball. What's wrong with this pitcher? Look, we got to hit. We got to take the pressure off the pitching staff. We got to hit when the runners are on base and score them. Man, we don't do that. And I don't know what the answer is, but that's a fact. And you look it up. Throw all the stats and everything out of the book, man. It's all about scoring runs, getting ahead, and winning ball games. Padres don't do that. And I'm still going to be a Padre fan, and I always will be.
I know you
but
will.
That is our problem.
I don't disagree. Thank you for the phone call. Running out of time, but I don't disagree. It's not a bad thought. I'm going to go look up those stats because I do like to look up stats, and I do like to have homework. But anyway, I'm trying to see. There was a chat. I need to stop looking at the chat right now because right now I need to I'm not going to do a daily gripe today. There's already been too many gripes tonight. So no daily gripe, but I will right now. I've locked the phones. But if you would like a chance to go to Scrabinator night on Wednesday, April 10th, between the Cubs and the Padres, the game starts at 3:40. Make sure you can be there. Give me a call right now, 833-288-0973. The question I'm asking you to answer is, what was the name of the podcast that I made about the Padres 2022 run? Yesterday, I made it a little bit too hard. I think this is more broad. I think this is a little bit easier. What was the name of the podcast that I made about the Padres 2022 playoff run? Also, I'm kind of excited because this is a shameless plug for the podcast. And so you can go to Odyssey. But what was that name? Go to the Odyssey app. I'm not seeing the phones light up yet. All right. Well, I'm going to be waiting here for your phone call. Thank you to everyone who joined me today. Thanks to everyone on the chat. Thanks to everyone this week. Appreciate all of you. Be back with you all Monday on 97.3 The Fan. Have a good weekend, everybody.